The strategic costs of suspending military aid to Ukraine. The Trump administration's suspension of U.S. military aid to Ukraine could have far-reaching implications for American national security. At a time when geopolitical tensions are at an all-time high, any sign of wavering support from the U.S. could embolden adversaries, weaken alliances, and create instability with global ramifications. The decision to halt aid to Ukraine does not just impact the battlefield. It has the potential to reshape the global power structure in ways that may ultimately harm U.S. strategic interests. Potential consequences of suspending aid. One of the most immediate concerns is that withholding military support may embolden Russia to escalate its aggression against Ukraine. Without the deterrent effect of U.S. military assistance, Russia could perceive an opportunity to push deeper into Ukrainian territory, destabilizing not only Eastern Europe, but also challenging the existing security architecture that has maintained relative stability since the end of the Cold War. This could severely undermine U.S. interests in the region, as a resurgent Russia would have greater influence over former Soviet states, potentially coercing them into aligning with Moscow's geopolitical ambitions. Furthermore, the decision to suspend aid to Ukraine risks straining relations within NATO, particularly with Eastern European nations that depend on U.S. leadership to deter Russian expansionism. A weakening of NATO's cohesion would have dire consequences for collective security, making it more difficult for the alliance to respond effectively to threats. Additionally, the abrupt nature of the aid suspension may cast doubt on America's reliability as an ally, raising concerns among partners worldwide about U.S. commitment to defending democratic nations facing authoritarian aggression. Beyond immediate military and diplomatic concerns, the move could also signal a broader shift in U.S. foreign policy, one that prioritizes isolationism over global leadership. Such a shift would create power vacuums that adversaries like Russia and China could quickly fill, diminishing America's global influence. Reduced engagement in European security could embolden China to take a more aggressive stance in regions such as the South China Sea and Taiwan, further increasing instability on a global scale. The long-term consequences of Ukraine. Falling to Russia. If Ukraine were to fall to Russian control, the implications for U.S. national security would be profound. One of the most concerning outcomes would be the message it sends to other adversarial states. A successful Russian conquest of Ukraine could encourage other aggressive powers, particularly China, to pursue their own territorial ambitions. The loss of Ukraine could serve as a precedent for aggressive military expansion, making future conflicts more likely and increasing the likelihood of direct U.S. involvement in costly wars. Additionally, abandoning Ukraine would deal a severe blow to America's global credibility. NATO and other U.S. alliances are built on the foundation of mutual defense and trust. If America is seen as an unreliable partner, it could lead allies to seek alternative security arrangements, weakening U.S. diplomatic leverage in international affairs. European security in particular would be at greater risk, as a victorious Russia might not stop at Ukraine, but could set its sights on NATO member states in Eastern Europe. Such a scenario could force the U.S. to commit even greater military and economic resources to defending NATO allies, escalating tensions, and increasing the chances of a broader war. Economically, a Russian takeover of Ukraine could have significant repercussions for global markets and U.S. industries. Ukraine is home to vast reserves of critical minerals, including titanium, lithium, and gallium, resources essential for the defense, aerospace, and technology industries. If Russia were to gain control over these assets, it could leverage them to weaken Western economies and strengthen its strategic position. Moreover, Ukraine's role as a major food exporter means that a prolonged conflict or Russian control over its agricultural output could drive global food prices higher, affecting American consumers and businesses alike. A Ukrainian defeat would also deepen domestic divisions within the U.S. The decision to abandon Ukraine could become a political flashpoint, exacerbating polarization and making it more difficult for the U.S. to formulate coherent foreign policy strategies in the future. Furthermore, stepping away from Ukraine could be perceived as a retreat from democratic values, undermining America's long-standing role as a champion of human rights and international stability. The economic ramifications of losing Ukraine. From an economic standpoint, the consequences of Ukraine's loss would ripple through several key sectors in the U.S. The energy industry, already volatile due to global uncertainties, could face further disruption. Oil and gas prices, which have fluctuated since the conflict began, could increase further, fueling inflation and slowing economic growth. The agricultural sector would also face challenges, particularly due to Ukraine's role as a major food producer. Disruptions to grain exports could exacerbate food security concerns worldwide, leading to higher food prices and increased pressure on American farmers. Additionally, US defense contractors that supply weapons and military technology to Ukraine could see reduced demand, potentially impacting jobs and economic activity within the defense sector. The financial markets, which have been sensitive to developments in the conflict, could experience heightened volatility. Investors, wary of prolonged instability in Europe, may respond with risk-averse strategies that could slow economic expansion. Moreover, a loss in Ukraine could prompt the US government to increase defense spending to counter potential Russian aggression in Europe, leading to shifts in budget priorities and potentially impacting domestic economic programs. Ukraine's critical role in the global supply chain. Ukraine is not just a strategic buffer against Russian aggression, but also a crucial player in the global supply chain for critical minerals. The country possesses vast titanium reserves, essential for aerospace, defense, and high-tech industries. The loss of Ukraine's titanium supply would make the US more dependent on sources from non-democratic regimes, thereby increasing vulnerabilities in critical sectors. Beyond titanium, Ukraine is rich in other strategic minerals such as lithium, beryllium, and gallium. These resources are vital for semiconductor manufacturing, battery production, and other cutting-edge technologies. Losing access to these minerals could hinder the US's ability to compete in emerging industries, especially as the world transitions toward green energy solutions. Furthermore, Ukraine's proximity to European markets ensures cost-effective supply chains, a benefit that would be lost if Russia were to take control of these resources. The cost of inaction. A Russian victory in Ukraine would embolden adversaries, weaken alliances, and create economic instability that could harm the US in multiple ways. From heightened military risks to economic fallout, the consequences of abandoning Ukraine would be felt across diplomatic, security, and economic domains. The US must remain vigilant and proactive in its support for Ukraine to protect its strategic interests and uphold its role as a global leader committed to defending democracy and international stability. Failure to do so would compromise security in Europe and weaken America's global standing, leaving the nation more vulnerable to future challenges. As history has shown, inaction in the face of aggression often comes at a far greater cost than taking decisive action when needed most. Continued support for Ukraine is essential not only for its sovereignty, but also for maintaining regional security and NATO's collective strength. If you found this video insightful, check out our video, Could NATO Troops in Ukraine Spark World War III, right up here on the screen. Thanks for watching.